You walk into the Apple store. Your old phone is fine, not broken, not dead. The battery is a little slower than it used to be. There's a tiny crack in the corner of the screen. Nothing urgent, nothing catastrophic. But as you stand there holding the new iPhone Pro Max Titanium, something happens in your brain. This isn't a want, this is a need. You tell yourself it's for work. It's a productivity tool. You rely on your phone. This is a responsible purchase. So you do what a rational adult does. You spend $1,200, you walk out of the store feeling good, successful, upgraded. But then you get into your car, you look at the phone, it's sleek, perfect, futuristic, and suddenly your old, frayed charging cable looks embarrassing. It feels wrong to plug this masterpiece of engineering into a $5 gas station cable. So you buy the MagSafe charger, that's $40. Then you get home, you put the phone on your nightstand, and now your cheap plastic phone case looks ridiculous. This phone deserves better. You buy the leather case. Then you realize your old wired headphones don't even work with it anymore. You need the AirPods Pro to get the full experience. That's $250 within 48 hours. That $1,200 purchase has quietly turned into a $1,600 purchase, and you didn't even notice it happening. This isn't you being bad with money. This is a psychological chain reaction that has destroyed more fortunes than the stock market ever has. It explains why people who win the lottery often end up bankrupt. It explains why buying a dream house turns into a financial nightmare. And it explains why one small upgrade never stays small. This phenomenon has a name. It's called the Diderot Effect. My name is Bobby, and on this channel we break down the invisible scripts that quietly keep people broke. Most people think they buy things because they need them. Today, I'm going to show you something uncomfortable. You don't buy things because you need them. You buy things because your other things are demanding them. And once you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. If you want to stop the spiral and actually keep the money you earn, hit the like button. Because to understand why you can't stop spending, we need to travel back to France. The year is 1765, and this entire mess starts with a bathrobe. His name was Denis Diderot. He was a philosopher, a writer, one of the greatest thinkers of his time. He was also broke, despite being the co-founder of the encyclopedia. One of the most ambitious intellectual projects in history, Diderot lived a very modest life. He wore old clothes, he walked on worn-out rugs, he sat on a shaky wooden chair in a dusty library. And here's the important part. He was happy. He wasn't dreaming of upgrades. He wasn't scrolling through catalogs. He wasn't surrounded by ads telling him he was one purchase away from greatness. His life was simple, and it made sense. Then everything changed. Catherine the Great, the Empress of Russia, heard about Diderot's financial struggles. She admired his work, so she made him an offer. She bought his entire library for a huge sum of money, roughly the equivalent of $50,000 today, and let him keep the books. Overnight, Diderot was rich. So what did he do? He did exactly what any of us would do. He treated himself. He went out and bought a beautiful, expensive scarlet dressing gown, a luxury robe, elegant, refined. He brought it home, put it on, and looked in the mirror. And for the first time in his life, he felt wealthy. But then something strange happened. He sat down at his desk to write, and the desk bothered him. The robe was magnificent. The desk was scratched, stained with ink, and falling apart. The contrast was painful. The desk didn't match the robe, so he replaced it. He bought a beautiful mahogany writing table. Problem solved, except it wasn't. Now the robe and the desk looked perfect together, but when he looked down, the old rug on the floor looked like a rag. It didn't belong in the room anymore. So he replaced the rug, a plush, expensive Damascus rug. You can probably guess what happened next. The rug made the curtains look cheap, so he replaced the curtains. The curtains made the chair look like firewood, so he bought a leather armchair. The chair made the walls look bare, so he bought paintings and sculptures and mirrors. Object by object, room by room, Diderot replaced everything he owned, not because the old things were broken, not because they stopped working, but because they no longer fit the story. Months later, his home was flawless, unified, elegant, and Diderot was broke again. Later in his life, he wrote an essay with a haunting title, "Regrets on Partying with My Old Dressing Gown." In it, he wrote one sentence that explains modern consumerism better than any marketing textbook. "I was the absolute master of my old dressing gown, but I have become a slave to my new one." That sentence describes your life more than you think. This is the Diderot Effect. The introduction of a new possession into your life creates a chain reaction of consumption. We think we own our things, but in reality, our things own us. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Bobby, that's a nice story about a French guy from 300 years ago, but I don't wear scarlet robes. How does this apply to me? It applies to you every single day. In fact, the Diderot effect is far more dangerous today than it was in 1765, because back then, marketing was simple. Today, it's weaponized. Let's look at a modern example. The fitness spiral. You wake up one morning and decide, that's it, I'm getting in shape. This is a good decision, a healthy decision. So you buy a Peloton bike. That's a big purchase, maybe $1,500. You tell yourself, this isn't spending. This is an investment in my health. But when the bike arrives, something feels off. You can't ride it in your old baggy t-shirt and gym shorts from high school. You don't look like the instructors on the screen. You don't feel like a cyclist, so you fix that. You buy the cycling shoes, $150. Then the moisture-wicking compression shorts, $80. Then the branded tank top, $50. And now the bike looks strange sitting in your messy living room. It deserves a proper space, a Zen space. So you buy a yoga mat, some dumbbells, maybe a new smart TV to cast the workouts. Suddenly, you haven't bought a bike, you've bought an identity. This is the core psychology of the Diderot effect. Identity consistency. As humans, we crave coherence. We want our external world to match how we see ourselves internally. When you buy a high-status item, you aren't just buying an object, you're upgrading your identity. If you see yourself as a Honda Civic person, you're comfortable wearing jeans, eating fast food, and living simply. But if you stretch your budget to buy a Porsche, you've crossed a line. You are now a Porsche person. And Porsche people don't wear scratched sunglasses. Porsche people don't have cheap IKEA furniture. Porsche people don't eat off paper plates. The car becomes the anchor item. It sets a new baseline for your entire life. And every object that falls below that baseline creates psychological tension. It feels wrong. So you upgrade everything else to restore balance. The car forces you to upgrade your wardrobe. The wardrobe forces you to upgrade your vacations. The vacations force you to upgrade your luggage. You aren't spending money because you want to. You're spending money to keep your story consistent. This is why fake it till you make it is financially toxic. If you fake it by buying a Rolex before you can afford it, that Rolex is going to demand a suit, a car, and a dinner tab that will quietly destroy you. And here's the trap. Most people calculate purchases in isolation. They look at a price tag and ask, can I afford this $500 item? That's the wrong question. The real question is, what chain reaction does this start? Because the cost of an item is almost never the price on the label. It's the system it pulls behind it. And once that system is in motion, it's very hard to stop. So how do we stop this? How do we break a psychological pattern that is literally wired into our brains? Because let's be clear, the solution is not to live in a cave, wear the same shirt for 10 years, and never buy anything nice again. That's not realistic. But what we can do is build firewalls, rules that stop the spiral before it starts. Here's the 3-step defense strategy against the Diderot effect. Strategy number 1, predict the chain reaction. Before you buy any upgrade item, a new phone, a car, a console, a suit, you have to pause and ask one dangerous question. What else will this item demand? If you buy the PS5, will it demand a 4K TV so the graphics look right? Will it demand a second controller, a subscription, better headphones? Write down the full system cost, not just the sticker price. If the console is $500, but the system cost is $1,500, you are not buying a console. You are buying a $1,500 obligation. If you can't afford the system, do not buy the anchor item. You are inviting a vampire into your house. Strategy number 2, the buy one give one rule. The Diderot effect thrives on accumulation. You add the new thing, but you keep the old thing. And now your brain wants them to match, so you cap your inventory. If you buy new sneakers, an old pair must leave the house. Donate them, sell them, trash them, new toaster, old toaster goes. This rule forces you to stay a user of things, not a collector. It prevents your home from turning into a shrine of objects that quietly demand upgrades. Strategy number 3, strategic downgrading. This one feels counterintuitive, and it's incredibly powerful. Sometimes the only way to reset your baseline is to deliberately downgrade a visible part of your life. Drive a slightly older car than you can afford. Wear a simple, functional watch. When your anchor items are humble, they don't demand anything. If you drive a beat-up Toyota truck, nobody expects you to wear a $2,000 suit. You have freedom. You can wear jeans. You can eat a burrito in the car. You can live. By keeping your status symbols low, you dramatically lower the required cost of the rest of your life. You create what I call a low-maintenance identity. And a low-maintenance identity is the most profitable asset you can own. It allows you to stack cash while everyone else is busy curating their museum. Now, let me be clear. There is nothing wrong with nice things. I like nice things. But you have to understand the game you're playing. Modern consumerism is designed to make you feel incomplete. It whispers that you're just one purchase away from happiness. But Diderot figured this out 300 years ago. That one purchase doesn't finish the puzzle. It scrambles it. It resets the board and forces you to start over. You don't become happier, you become busier. Maintaining coherence, so don't be a slave to your robe. Be the master of your life. If this video saved you from making a stupid purchase this week, hit the like button. Subscribe to The Money Trap for more explanations of the systems that quietly drain your money. And remember, don't buy the robe. I'll see you in the next one.